Did you know that wombats are the only animal on Earth that actually has square poops? It has something to do with their cloaca. What are the humans doing?
No James Bond nonsense. Subversion is the term, if you look in a dictionary or criminal code, is explained as an activity to destroy.
Do you think you're ready? Can you handle the truth? Or are you in denial and demand more proof? They demonstrate in real time how they're spinning you lies, but no one pays attention, no one opens their eyes. They walk around like zombies with their head in the mobiles, signaling their virtues with a pick on their profile. Yeah.
You cannot subvert an enemy which doesn't want to be subverted. Starting from Hollywood movie makers to professors of political science, the rest, 85%, is always subversion. But according to the law and law enforcement systems of the Western civilization, it's not a crime. United States is a receptive target of subversion.
They fabricate our problems and pretend to provide the best solution, but we all know they lied. They lied about the weapons and they lied about health. They lied about the fact that they're transferring the wealth. You should really notice how they're pushing the fear. Keep everybody terrified and not thinking clear. Yeah.
Things like religion, government system, political, economical system of a country. Manipulation of terms. We think that subverter is a person who is going to blow up our beautiful bridges. Subverter is a student who comes for exchange, a diplomat, an actor, an artist, a journalist like myself. And easily observable if you give yourself time and trouble to observe it.
Said, do you think you're ready? Can you handle the truth? Or are you in denial and demanding more proof? They demonstrate in real time how they're spinning you lies, but no one pays attention, no one opens their eyes. They walk around like zombies with their head in the mobiles, signaling their virtues with a pick on their profile.
Means always a destructive, aggressive activity aimed to destroy the country, nation, or geographical area of your enemy.
No, say it ain't so. Come on, Yuri. Give me a better result than that. Just because no one will admit or agree with anything that may or may not be true doesn't mean we're all lost to the total fifth column. How y'all doing? Y'all doing good? How's it going? Everything seems to be working over here. I'm a little impressed because I keep finding this one file in my computer that I keep deleting and it keeps coming back and I have no idea how. So there's that. I have a show for y'all tonight. Check this out. So M in chat tipped me off to a channel that tipped me off to another channel, and there maybe a serial killer in operation over here. I don't know. It seems sketchy as all get out to me, right? Because I look at it and I'm like, those statistics are very strange. Anyway, we're going to get into that stuff. And at some point, I'm going to drop the link, let her come in, and we can try to talk about it. But technical issues aside, right? But first, I have a previous guest who has some, oops, wrong button, some previous things happening. Where's it at? There it is. Bingo, bingo, bongo. And it is Third Coast Cop Watch, previous guest up here on Sasquatch Shills. And I can't find his email to save my life. I have no idea what happened to it. I've been looking for it. But anyway, I finally said, screw it. we're going to do this. Now, homie got arrested a while back. That's Third Coast Cop Watch. And he filmed the arrest, and then he filmed them coming and arresting him at his house again later for, I don't know what. I don't think I ever got a straight answer out of why he was arrested. But anyway, this is, if not his most recent update, the next update that I haven't covered, right? So he's got discovery on the information that he's being supposedly tried on. And whenever they gave him this information from discovery, they gave it to him 24 hours, like 18 hours before he was supposed to be on trial, like before the start date of his trial. So his only opportunity to see this information, specifically these body cam footage, was on his attorney's laptop in his car, because the next time they were going to see each other would be going in to do trial. And that seems a bit sketchy to me. That just seems nasty from the beginning. I don't like the way that works. You're supposed to be able to plot yourself a decent defense, and you can't possibly do that in less than 18 hours without the information. That makes no sense. That feels like a kangaroo court doing a railroad drive to me, fellas. Right? But he does a pretty good job explaining it. You're going to have to kind of forgive his Creole Southern going on, but it's pretty good. I kind of like it. But there's a few really windy spots I'm going to mute, but for the most part, I'm just going to let it roll.
What we got going on here? Yeah, they ain't working. They just talking. Okay, this is unit 250. All right. Let's see what they got in here.
Remember this video when I was arrested for filming Grand Parish Sheriff's Department deputies Brennan Flory and Ethan Hemphill? Well, I got the discovery.
Yeah, they're just talking. They ain't working.
All right. So here we begin with and it's all really shaky. It's all bad quality. It's all unfortunate. But he is sitting in a car filming this with a handheld phone on a laptop because he'll be done with his trial before he gets his hands on the actual copies. And that just seems dirty to me. I just want to be clear about that.
Can we help you? You answer questions? You just staying on public highways?
The DA's office withheld this body camera footage for 6 months. They did not finally hand it over to my attorney until the night before trial. On my trial date, my attorney gave me his laptop and allowed me to view this footage inside my vehicle.
Which all seems sketchy as hell to me. But that being said, I think if we gave it a good James Earl Jones voiceover and some Nightmare on Elm Street danger music, we could really make this a creepy video.
I took the liberty of recording it from my cell phone.
That's right. I think you sound.
Okay. So you do not pull up here and say, I'm wondering why my employees are, my people are sick. I'm not sure what they're doing. Let's get that straight right now. Okay? Did you run that CwS? Who's it come back to? Mr. Robert Thompson? Is that him? No, he did come out with a picture. And then come out with a picture. Is your name Robert Thompson?
I don't answer questions.
Why?
It's my first name, right? Not two. I'm sorry, it's my fifth amendment. Right?
But you do live in the state of Louisiana.
I kind of like this guy.
Where you are required to identify yourself when you're subject to a law enforcement investigation, okay?
I'm subject to a law enforcement investigation.
Because you took it upon yourself to park your truck on the left shoulder of the road and approach my patrol vehicle and start filming it all the way around it.
That's your only complaint? As a citizen decided to document you working? Well, that's strange. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the technical issues are part of the show.
So there you hear Deputy Hemphill say over the radio that he's running my name because I filmed his patrol car all the way around it. I think we all know what Ethan Hemphill is saying here, that this is one bad, crooked cop pulling up.
And if I'm not mistaken, later when they send a cop to his house to issue his arrest warrant, they send this cop that pulls up all hot, bothered. I'm very confused by this whole circumstance. What's up, John Denicole?
He's been the most honest man so far. He usually identified himself to us.
Never in my career had someone walk up to my patrol vehicle and start filming me without preparation.
This is terrific.
Okay? So
Yeah,
yes, you have all possessions. I can identify you because that is suspicious, okay? That is very suspicious.
We have no idea what's going on. I think you might have a little bit better, but I'm not
No,
sure.
you have no idea what's going on there, Brad.
Hey, did she send a picture to you? Oh, yeah.
So at this point, while I'm talking to Deputy Hemphill, Officer Chris Busby walks up to Brennan Flory's patrol car to hold a conversation.
So that's Long Island Audits won his injunction on recording in the police stations of New York. That's cool. We appreciate that. It's always good when you put one in the W column.
Where he turns his body camera off. Now this body camera came in two parts, so I have to upload the other part because he cut his body camera on and off. But while I'm doing this, Chris Busby and Brennan Flory are orchestrating my illegal arrest. Now look at this. Chris Busby reactivates his body camera, and now his right arm is resting on the door frame of the car.
Okay, we got enough for rest. I need to get the rest.
What's his record at? It's on his way.
I certainly have to admit, it does seem a bit nefarious that he's got the ability to pause his body cam like that. That doesn't seem legitimate to me. Hey, Claire Wells, UK, welcome in.
If you remember my original video, they're trying to tow my vehicle while I'm standing right there, calling it abandoned, while at the same time refusing to let me get back in it to leave. Now here you see Officer Chris Busby of the Creola Police Department approach Brennan Flory's patrol car window again, and here he cuts his body cam footage off for good. While the
All right, correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be off base here, but I'm pretty sure his footage of this paused period should be available on his channel, which means we should be able to go in and edit in from his angle the time period that this was paused with just a little bit of effort.
Interaction is still going on. Now, this is what I got from the DA's office the night before trial. A bunch of chopped up body cam footage.
No, we're not. We're going to give you a mercy.
Yay, trial was postponed.
That's nice
Yay.
of you guys.
To quit parking on the driver's the left.
All right, so this is the time period that
All
it was
right.
off, that it was paused.
Have a good day. Please leave.
My impression here is that they're trying to get rid of him so they could finish setting him up without witnesses. And you know, they could have just left. They could have just gotten their car and left. They were both pointing in directions. They could have just drove off. None of this would have happened at all. Not even an issue. Instead, they want to try to hem him up for filming them. They want to try to hem him up because he drove a vehicle. They want to try to hem him up because of any possible tiny little thing they can think of. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And this is that windy part where you really can't hear anything at all. So I'm just going to leave it muted for a few more seconds because they basically run him out of here like a 4-year-old after the cookies in the kitchen. And then it gets really wild because they made him leave and then stop him 500 yards away. Just as soon as he got in that car, they blew on him.
They're stalking my house. They're on my street now, stalking my house. It's them pulling away.
All right, let me freeze the screen. Now pay attention right here. This is where this dirty cop, Brennan Flory.
Hey, Reality Audits Baton Rouge. Welcome in, bud. Good to see you. I hope he gets a goddamn chunk of change too. The man freaking deserves it dealing with this bullshit. And I don't give a damn what he was doing before all of this. That was bullshit.
Lies on his police report. He says, I am blocking traffic, that there are cars directly behind me that have to go all the way off the road just to get around me. He never mentions the encounter on the highway just 5 minutes prior to this.
I agree, dude. I talked to him. I didn't have a whole lot of time with him backstage, but we did spend a couple hours chatting both before and after. And I haven't really seen him be I could see how with his accent and the way he talks, somebody might think he was being aggressive, but he was one of the nicest people I've ever talked to backstage. You seem like a real sweet guy. What's up, Hawk fan for life? Welcome back. Welcome in. Good to see you, bud. We're doing some sort of baseline keeping up with channels that have been on, you know. Did that? Yeah, that totally just doubled. I don't know why.
Okay, this is harassment.
Turn around, put your hand on your back.
For what?
Turn around, put your hand on your back.
What am I being detained for?
Turn around, put your hand on your back.
Articulate it for me.
Turn around, put your hand on your back.
For what?
Put your hand on your back. Put your hands behind your back.
What am I being?
He has not been told he's under arrest. The man just told him to put his hands behind his back. He didn't say you're under arrest, put your hands behind your back. He said, put your hands behind your back. Does that mean he's under arrest? What's up, Line 1? 99 Acres. Good to see both of you. Welcome in. I don't know, man. Kind of, yeah, it do make my blood boil. This whole situation is just horrible. I don't know where Ajod is. She's around somewhere.
Arrested for? What am I being detained?
Brendan Flory and Ethan Hemphill were both fired from the town of Ball for malfeasance. Shortly thereafter, they were hired by Grant Parish Sheriff Steve McCain, where Brendan Flory enjoys a privileged life of receiving awards and promotions. Both Brendan Flory and Ethan Hemphill have been promoted to sergeant since my original video first went viral.
As a side note, it's likely that a woman who called herself
Somehow I feel like my little thing is not right currently, and I'm going to have to fix it because it ain't right. It ain't right. Stop. This is inappropriate. M should be here. M, why haven't you checked your phone, bro? Like, it does no good. You can't be in on it if you're not in on it. That's not right. It's not right either. We'll do that. Yeah, we're going to do that thing. That's what we're doing for a minute. All right, so the channel we will be observing, right? And they do an excellent job at this, by the way. It's called the Internet Investigator. And they do I mean, you could complain, but what are you going to complain about? It's not like you're out there digging up the information yourself. So, you know, they do a really thorough job on the videos that they cover. So I'm a bit curious if I'm going to get a copyright takedown about this one like I did the last one, but oh, shucks. So Internet Investigator, the Internet Investigator. All of the information for all this stuff is in the description. Pretty much everything. Wait, hold on. Why can't I do that? I can do that. You just have to let me. Yes. Unlimited power. Right? Dude. Fine. God. Why do you have 700 phones anyway? I mean, because to tell you the truth, she might know a little bit more about what's actually going on with this channel, because I've heard of the channel before. And the suspect channel is Chosen One, 183,000 subscribers. And he does interviews with homeless women, destitute women. I have not seen any interviews with men at all, other they may be there. I just haven't seen any, but it's really weird to me that he happens to have interviewed a whole boatload of women who aren't around anymore. There's a few that are just missing, and there's a few that are full on off the reservation. Yeah, that's probably her. There you go. Are you going to sit here and beat up your mic the whole time, or are we going to go through
Is it
this?
beating it up right now?
Not yet, but it's terrible.
Oh, bless it. My audio should be good.
Shouldn't it?
Okay.
I think everyone's audio should be good. Unfortunately, the world is an unperfect place.
Yeah, that is so true. And technical difficulties are always a part of this show. So.
Yeah, they got to be.
But
Otherwise,
today,
it just
They seem to be going okay on my end, sir.
Are you sure about that?
I'm
Let's
sure.
see. Not that. Not that. I want
I'm sure about
this one.
that's him.
I don't really like that. I don't like the way it looked at weird. How about some of this?
Yeah. So we can look
Yeah,
down
that'll
on him.
work. I kind of like that. We can look down on it. Yeah, okay.
Down.
All right. That'll do. So,
Okay. So am I going to introduce this
chosen one. Hold on, chosen one, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was it that made you sketchy about him in the first place?
Well, okay, so his thumbnails, if you notice, like a lot of the ones that are right up there are why I started clicking on his videos, and I knew instantly when I clicked on them what type of like subject matter we were going to be dealing with. The reason why I clicked on it was because I got a problem with people exploiting other people that are struggling. And obviously, if you was to watch some of these videos, these women are clearly struggling. They're obviously got substance abuse issues. Some of them have mental health issues. But he makes money. His channel is monetized, and he does make money off them. He claims that he's helping them, but like I would see someone that he would do interviews with, and then I never really see him do interviews with them again. And I thought, that's weird. Either hopefully they got clean or something else is up.
We I don't know what the something else might have been. I mean, in his defense, and just right off the top, I want to specify this individual does interviews with people who are living on the very ragged edge of existence. So having a few bodies in his backwater wouldn't necessarily be out of place. The percentages involved here seem a little bit absurd, though, and we'll get into that when we start in on this video. But I'm going to take my time going through the video because she brings up a whole bunch of like things that are. She mentions them; they're all related, but they don't seem related until after you've heard all these different disparate things. And then you hear something else that's like, wait a second, hold on. All of that stuff's associated, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if they do that for the suspense value in the video or if they do that just because there's so much information that it's hard to do a linear. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, even with his channel and what he does, it could be, I could see why it's hard to do that.
It's like soft white underbelly, except this guy is very low rent. He is not a nice person.
No, not even a little bit. I think honestly, now that you brought up soft white underbelly, I believe the reason why he got into my feed was the algorithm, because I think that is around the time that I had subscribed to soft white underbelly, and I thought, wow, this dude kind of comes off like that. But then I was like watching him, I was like, oh, but he's not like Homeboy at all. Then I found out some fucked up shit about him too. Well, about soft white underbelly.
But Homeboy is largely just interested. That's the thing. This guy wants some nasty, juicy tidbit of information. Tell me a that you might not be able to put on YouTube. That's what he wants. It's creepy.
Yeah. Really There's even a couple that he follows, Maddie and Jerry, and like it's just so sad. You'll see how he is. He's a total fucking dick biscuit, and that's me being nice. That's me being nice, because I think he's just a total asshole. Straight up. He's a dick biscuit. He's a total dick biscuit. Like, I cannot. You'll see his demeanor is like, oh wow.
Hello,
that's
Izzy.
So charming. Hey, Izzy.
Yeah. All right, so
I was wondering where she was.
What do you know about the Internet Investigator? Or
she's awesome. the Internet Investigator. I've been following her. I've been subscribed to her for a couple years. She does deep dives, but a lot of times it's related to Reddit stuff, like different subreddits that she finds and the content that's on that, but around true crime related subreddits. But she does deep dives on them, or like what is it called? When they do those videos where it's like it's like kind of like a tier video, but it's not. You know what I'm talking about? There's a name for it. I can't think of it right now. It escapes me.
Izzy, I'm so sorry.
What? What happened?
I think your kitty passed away this morning.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
So sad.
That is so sad. Was he really old, or did something horrible happen?
I have no idea. Why would I know?
That's terrible. Oh, I thought you just had the scoop. I thought Izzy had. Well, I don't know. We probably should check in.
In the chat, she'd be like, "Looky," I'd be like, "I'm sorry, condolences."
Oh, I'm so sorry. I see that now.
Rebranding a channel.
She said, "I'm gonna have to rebrand this channel." No, you don't have to rebrand it.
I don't know. It's hard to say the name over and over and over and over and see everybody talking about it like that.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah.
Chosen One is a YouTuber best known for his videos in which he interviews homeless people and drug addicts. While he has a dedicated group of subscribers who believe he can do no wrong, criticism against him has mounted in recent years, and attention has been brought to a number of women who have died, some under mysterious circumstances.
All right, so notice these numbers the man is throwing up over here. He's got 3.4 million, 2.2 million, 1.8 million, 1.8 million, 1.6 million. We're not talking about a small channel.
Yeah.
Shortly after they were interviewed by him. Let's investigate. If you enjoy internet mysteries and generally disturbing content, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this. I also have a Patreon and a PayPal, so if you're interested in supporting the channel, feel free to check those out. Links will be in the description. You can also leave me a tip by clicking the thanks under this video. Thanks to anyone who considers this.
And all links are in the description to go find all the stuff and the things. I figure we got about 14 minutes till they blast me off YouTube for copyright. What do you reckon?
This video will contain vague discussions of topics that some might find triggering. Viewer discretion is advised. You can head over to my Patreon for an uncut, ad-free version of this video, which features extra disturbing details that were unsuitable for this cut.
No.
Chosen One is a YouTube channel run by a man named Tom that was created in November 2007 and has since amassed over 183,000 subscribers. Tom uploads very frequently, pretty much every day, and multiple times most days. The majority of these are pretty random vlogs, like short clips of food at restaurants and of Tom's dog, as well as a few live streams here and there.
Yeah, I can't do much with that until you get a picture back in there. It won't even let me add you to the stage until it syncs up. I don't know.
Most of these vlogs don't get many views, usually a couple of hundred, with the occasional video reaching around 1,000. His most popular videos by far are interviews with homeless people and workers in Detroit. A few of these have well over 1 million views, with the most viewed currently sitting at 3.4.
All right. Notice this one here. This says Georgia.
Yeah, I told you. He just got there.
I know. This channel is currently creeping the southeastern United States and interviewing the most destitute individuals you could possibly imagine.
4 million views. It's not hard to see why these videos are mostly well received. They are raw and unedited, and Tom's no-frills style ensure all focus is on the interviewees and the answers they give to the straightforward questions he asks. Through his interviews, Tom shines a light on the homeless community and encapsulates the lives of people from various different backgrounds that have one way or another ended up on the streets, many of whom are drug addicts or alcoholics. He pays each person $10 for each interview and has also...
All right. Does anybody in chat have an issue with some destitute homeless lady taking $10 to have a conversation for 10 minutes.
Oh, he gives her the $10, but he's not always so quick to give them the money. You know what I mean? Like, I don't got a problem with that. If they don't want to be on camera unless you pay them, that's their prerogative. Pay them. If you want to do an interview with them, pay them. Do you not concur?
I'm baffled by what's going on in chat right now. I'm not sure exactly what's happening. I'm so confused.
I've got to go and look. I dropped my phone in the garage. That's what happened whenever I dipped out for a second. I dropped one of my phones, had to throw up a force field because I don't have screen protector.
Also
You
given
know
some
what?
clothes and other useful items to some of them. He also encouraged a couple of them to start their own YouTube channels to document their lives and receive donations. And as a result of his attempts to help these people, he has gained a small, dedicated group of supporters who admire the work he does. But of course, if Tom was simply a good Samaritan, there would be no reason for me to make a video on him. Turns out when you dig a bit deeper, there may be more to this man than initially meets the eye. There have been some extremely disturbing allegations against him. We'll get to those soon. But first, let's take a look at some of the general criticism.
All right. She has the supposed names of the women. We have Sherry, Monica. If not the names, then locations. Detroit, a sweet woman works for the street. Well-spoken, intelligent, blah, blah, blah. Free will prostitution, crack addiction in Detroit. The streets of Detroit, the young woman is of adult age. Maddie is dope sick. You know, the type. You've seen the type of channel we're talking about. Right.
Yeah.
Him and his channel. As I already mentioned, Tom pays interviewees $10 for each video they feature in, which is arguably a nice gesture regardless. However, it has been pointed out that Tom is profiting significantly from these videos, so $10 is kind of a drop in the ocean, considering these people are literally on the streets. And they are the sole reason he is able to make a living from YouTube, as he may well not even meet the criteria for
If my man is a partner, maybe not a partner, but definitely monetized, his view counts, even if he's not monetized, he could probably throw some like associate links and make a pretty decent bit of cheese. But if you're not reading ads, as I understand it, you're not making money on YouTube. Ad reads are just the way that goes nowadays. So
monetization from his other videos alone. He has been called out numerous times for seemingly lying about the monetization status of his videos. A few years ago, he claimed on more than one occasion that he was demonetized. I'm not sure if he still claims that now, but he said this in relation to the videos where he interviews homeless people. For anyone who isn't a content creator and might not know how this works, demonetized would imply that either certain videos were not suitable for any advertisers or that his whole channel is not eligible for monetization at all. To give him the benefit of the doubt, he may well simply be using the wrong word here, as at other times he claimed that his videos have limited ads, meaning they aren't suitable for most advertisers, but still earn revenue from some advertisers and YouTube Premium subscriptions. If that was the case, Tom likely wouldn't be making a substantial amount of money, even on the videos that have over 1 million views. It's hard to speculate on how much, because ad revenue depends on a number of factors, such as the demographics of a channel's viewers.
okay. So we know this man has thrown down a multi-million view channel. And I mean, he's pulling down several 100,000 views a day on long form content, which even partially monetized would render a not insignificant amount of revenue.
Yeah. He makes enough money to where I don't think he works anymore.
Right? So
Yeah. I
yeah,
think I'm pretty sure. And I don't even, my channel's not even monetized. So like, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
What happened?
Chat.
He claimed that you make $4 for every 1,000 views. I'm not really sure where he pulled that figure from though, as there is no set rate. In addition to the factors that affect how much you'll earn from each ad, it would also depend on the length of the video and how many ads he chose to place in them. Regardless, it appears that most, if not all of his videos are fully monetized. You can check that out for yourself now, and while the criteria for monetization has varied over the years, it used to be a lot more lax prior to what is sometimes referred to as.
Okay, so I got one. Izzy got the other one. One will be back in 300 seconds. The other can email me.
The adpocalypse. Then it got stricter and recently seems to have eased off a bit more. You can find various screenshots online of ads on Tom's videos from around that time, casting doubt on his claims that his videos were marked limited or no ads. In fact, according to Social Blade at the time, he was making up to $20,000 a month, and that could even be a low estimate, as many creators have stated that their earnings exceed social.
So, a not insignificant amount of money. So, I bring this up specifically to tell you I don't think this individual is involved at all, other than merely as a secondary target. Let me explain.
Please
We don't
do
know.
elaborate.
We don't know how much money he makes, but given the numbers he's putting up, as I said before, it's not insignificant. We will lowball the living hell out of it and call it $5,000 a month. So I'm sneeze squatching. Y'all calm down. It's okay. Do not adjust your set. A not insignificant amount of money. So how much would it take to donate to him to keep him doing what he's doing, but do it in a specific way? Let's say you were looking for the absolute detritus of society so that you could hunt those people. How would you find them? How would you identify them? I don't believe this man is involved, but I believe one of his donators may be.
Yeah, no, that I do believe. That's a
And
very, very good possibility.
we're going to get into the details of that directly, because there are a whole bunch of videos up, and then there's a whole bunch of videos that were up, were taken down and re-uploaded in an edited format. And there are other videos that were taken down, re-uploaded in an edited format, but then taken down entirely. And if you look at the videos that were taken down entirely and correlate them to missing and dead people, it pretty much goes to figure that either the police have become involved and have made him take down videos that they believe are evidentiary, or he has realized there's something, or he was paid by a donator to take them down.
Yeah.
Consider this.
But if the donator paid to have him
Okay,
taken
that's
down, then it probably has something to do with that relative to the death.
Yeah, but we would know nothing about that. And I wonder how much would you have to pay for me to take down a video that makes me $1,000 a month?
Right?
Just saying.
Quite a bit of. I mean, you're gonna have to pay me more than that.
So I think
If it's making that much money a month, and I've had that let's say I've had that video up for a year, and I'm making that much money a month off that one video, you're gonna, at the very least, for me to take it down, you're gonna have to pay me that whole year's bit on that to take it down at the least. And you know he's an asshole. It's going to be more than that.
So yeah, what we're dealing with here is a void of information where there should be information. You should be able to go find out who these girls are, what that interview was. Should be somewhere on the way back machine, but it doesn't seem to be.
But given the fact that the site isn't 100% accurate when it comes to earning predictions, his earnings could have been lower than that. It wouldn't be hard for Tom to prove that he doesn't make much money on YouTube. All that it would take is a screenshot of his analytics, yet for some reason he has never done this. No one is suggesting that he donates all his earnings to the people who feature in his videos. He has to make a living somehow, but he has been criticised for not doing more to help them when he likely makes a significant profit off them. When one woman asked if he could give her $20 rather than $10, he bluntly replied, "No, I can't. It's only for 5 minutes." One of the women he interviewed, Kelly, claimed that she was told prior to agreeing to the interview that Tom would give her all the money he made from the interview, yet according to her, he never gave her a penny aside from the $10. She implied that she believes he keeps some of the donations that his subscribers send him to give to the homeless people.
So back during my little trolley days, this is the type of channel that I would go and smoke up just to make their life miserable.
Yeah.
And I would do it because he's directly exploiting the least of us.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's one step away from doing bad things to children.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't think he's quite wood shredder material, but he's not far from it, is what I'm saying.
Right. He's right. Yeah, he's at the door of getting a card, a free pass right on in that chipper. He's like right there at the door.
He has accidentally opened cards addressed to specific people from his videos on multiple occasions, so it is possible that he takes out some of the money before passing on the cards. I've seen him tell some of the women he interviews that if the videos made money on YouTube, he would give them all the money, so he has blatantly lied to them. Furthermore, simply handing them money, knowing full well many of them are drug addicts, isn't exactly the most responsible decision.
All right. So on that point, if someone's a committed drug addict, you cannot make the decision to get clean for them. No matter how good-hearted and altruistic you want to be, I cannot solve your problems. Ultimately, there is a reason you are using drugs, and until you can deal with that reason, you will be stuck on that treadmill. There's a reason they call it rock bottom. So whether he pays them $5 or $500 and what they do with that money, I have no concern on that, because whether they were just talking to him for 5 minutes or running around the corner with 5 junkies trying to carjack somebody, they're going to get the money. They're gonna. They didn't break the law for this money. $10.
And they didn't have to do nothing shady.
Right. Well, pretty much everything you could think of to do for $10 is shady. I mean, you can't even get your front lawn mowed for $10 no more.
I was gonna say, hell, there's a dang car wash here now. You can't even wash your fucking car around here for less than $10. That's
right.
crazy.
So, all right, and notably, this is a few years ago. This is 2019. So we're talking 2019 money, which would be like what, $20 now? Like $17.50.
That part.
And when he could buy them food or vouchers for necessities instead. Viewers can donate money through Tom. He has been known to give them $2,000 in cash all at once. And when viewers warn him that's probably not a good idea, he gives snarky responses. For example, one comment read, "Be careful, Tom, when giving those girls the big checks or $2,000 cash. Word can get out fast on the street, and the poor girls could get jumped for it." I'm sure you'll figure out the best way to do it. Thanks for helping. He simply responded, "Thanks, Mum." Another comment on the same video read, "Tom, do you realize when you give them money, they are shooting it in their arms?" He replied, "Donna, quit these stupid/ignorant comments or I'm going to block you. I watch these."
All right. So I understand the concern here. I don't understand what they expect him to do about this detail. This is merely a
They want to
detail in
not
the
give
story.
money.
But how is he going to get the interviews without giving them at least some modicum of something? I mean, MLH has done a similar sort of thing, but he accomplished it, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken, but I think he got her a hotel room for the night and a meal that night and a place that did breakfast the next morning. And they had a conversation. They did the whole filming thing. It's a really good piece of work. If anybody's interested, it's on Mexican Longhair's channel. I can't remember the name of it right now, but
Check that out.
anyway, it's some kind of soft white underbelly type thing, and he did a really good job of it. But the point is, that was done with dignity and taste. These are just done.
Yeah.
They're not done with any particular designs to help or facilitate, although the informational value might be there. I don't know if I just don't agree with the trying to judge him based off of what other people are going to do with money. The agreement is you talk to me for 20 minutes, I give you $10, $20, $50, whatever. That's the agreement. Would you make that same agreement for $12 in vouchers? I don't know. Maybe not. To be honest, probably. Because these people do this for cash. I doubt they do it for vouchers for baby food or bread, you know. I doubt they might do it for a gift. He was hot enough.
They call him because they call him usually because they know he's going to give them cash.
All right, so they're going to go on kind of bad mouthing this guy for a little while here. I personally don't like the guy. I don't watch his content. It's just the type of content that I stopped watching when I started my channel. And this is sort of wise because I kept seeing stuff like this.
These women buy food and pay cell phone bills, etc. Arguably, it's 2 or 3 less vehicles these women have to get in. Like Calvin Murray said, these women are going to get high with or without me. This is just my opinion, but I really don't believe that he watches what they spend the money on. And if he really wants them to buy food or pay phone bills, why doesn't he just buy those things to give to them or get them vouchers? He has acknowledged before that the money he gave people has been spent on drugs, even resulting in the hospitalization of one of these women.
And while that's very sad, it's not like he bought them drugs and he didn't give them the money and then take them to the dealer's house and get them loaded up. You know, you are muted. Okay. As long as you know you're muted, you silly monkey.
But accepts no responsibility for that and says he has next to no hope that they would ever recover from their addictions anyway. Sure, if they want to get high, they probably will one way or another, but he doesn't have to facilitate and enable it, and he could ensure they have the necessities at least. As a side note, Tom has been accused of wire fraud, as he allegedly receives a lot more in donations than he's known to actually.
Okay, just on the surface of this situation, we're going to take a good look at this guy on a scale of 1 to 10. How much do we trust this individual based on what we see right here?
On a scale of 1 to 10, did you see my face just a second ago? Like the reaction when that picture came up on the screen? There was a reason why. I definitely don't trust him now. Like 150 billion% don't trust him. We need to get his DNA. I'm just saying.
That man needs to be put through APHIS. Janica says 1. -1 from Scotty Waddles, and he would know. 2.5. I'll go 3 because, you know, I might trust him to watch my car, but I'm not gonna trust him with my kid.
Don't let him watch my car. Hell no. No, no, he can't. He can't come in my yard. So he's not
No,
getting near my dog or my kid. No.
my
I wouldn't
point
even let
is,
him watch my toilet.
my point is, I'm not trusting him with my wife, my dog, or my garbage,
Definitely don't trust him with your wife.
right? 2.5. 3, I gave him his best ranking. That's sad. if I'm your biggest
I
advocate,
don't
you
know.
got
Why
to
did you give him a 3? I'm like, sir, you're
because
just
I've met
being nice.
creepier people. No, I've met creepier people. Remind me to tell
I've
you,
met creepy people too.
they're way creepier. So he's no he
Oh yeah.
I mean, until he proves otherwise.
That's what I'm talking about tomorrow.
I mean, I don't see any unsavory face tattoos or any blood
It's
dripping
not
off
that.
his clothing currently. Yeah,
He
them
just looks
beady eyes.
creepy.
He is creepy.
Give to the
Like he looks
homeless.
like he might take your VCR while
Well,
you're
it's
not like home.
believable. I have no way of confirming it. It has been suggested that Tom doesn't actually want them to get clean because while they're addicted to drugs and on the streets, he can continue profiting off their stories. And if
Okay, so for that opinion, I have this to say. I don't think he would care one way or the other what happens to them after he gets his interview, not even in a little bit, because there are an unlimited supply of these people. They are literally expendable as far as the system is concerned, and he is effectively tapped into a way to monetize that system. So why would he care?
Yeah, but I think I don't think he cares one way or the other. I think he only cares at the time being because if you notice I've watched some of his videos, so some of he talks to some of them a particular way, and then he talks to some of the other ones a whole another way. And I think that that's relevant to a particular reason. That's just my
Okay.
opinion, though.
But I stand by by the idea that by all rights, he should just completely ignore any reference to past interviews because they don't matter. It doesn't matter what anyone says. Those videos are going to sit there and make money, and there's nothing you or me or anybody else can do about it. However, some of his most profitable videos were removed. Apparently by the creator, as far as we can tell. But why?
Yeah.
If money is the reason, this brings a monkey wrench into the whole plan, don't it? Certainly a question mark.
That's what I'm saying.
if anything happens to them, which it has on numerous occasions, that, in his eyes, is just a more dramatic story that will make him even more money. Various people have claimed that when they contacted Tom asking how they could donate clothes and other items, they were either ignored, told no, or even blocked in some cases. He has been known to give items as well as cash to these people, though I believe this only began after he was called out for not doing so, and I wonder if the decision was simply to limit the things he could be criticised for, as his image seems very important to him. A couple of the people.
All right, so there's this one channel that I was smoking up back in the day, and the specific reason, I remember the specific video that rendered me a threat to the channel was these people were going out and they were feeding homeless people, and that was their whole shtick. But I noticed, and I wasn't the only one, we noticed that she was feeding the same 25 homeless people like every other day, which is fine if that's like a thing, except there were some of the people in the channel that lived in the same area, and they're like, homeless don't hang out over there. And what they had done was went and got a bunch of their buddies, got them to hang out in this particular empty lot, and they would show up and feed them. Yeah, that was the whole gimmick of the channel. And
oh my God.
the thing that ticked me off was there was a period of time where a bunch of these folks were pretending to be all junked out and stuff, and maybe they were, maybe they weren't. But this channel creator got Narcan packs and handed them out to people who were not junkies. And while, okay, now that would not even be a thing because they might know a junkie and might need it. But back then, those things were rare. It was important for them to stay in the hands of people who were capable of using them. I'm not talking about the nasal stuff. I'm talking about the old school injectable suppress, right? These things were obviously stolen from somewhere, right? And being basically handed out every week to the same 20 or 30 homeless people.
That's still suspect.
This was a monetized channel that was pulling in like some significant amount of money. And we decided that was bad, okay? And there was a
Because that is bad, okay?
effort to limit what that channel would be capable of doing in the future. Like, for instance, there was one guy whose channel's entire purpose, he would set up on that corner to film the empty lot where they were filming their homeless outreach, which was across the street from the apartment building they were living in. Like, they didn't even go far. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was very low rent. Anyway, sorry about all that.
So you knew somebody that would sit across the street from there and film when they would show up over there to prove that they were indeed
that was
fucking
the thing.
posted.
They could see that corner from their apartment window, so there would be nobody out there until this guy would leave, and then they would come out and film some real quick bit where they would literally like flash mob the place to try to get some footage before that other guy got back. And it never worked. He always got there just in time to see him scattering, and it was always hilarious. So, but at the same time, it wasn't really enough evidence to prove incontrovertibly, right?
Right. But
But
still,
it was.
That's so messed up, though. Everything about what they were doing is wrong.
Yeah. Yes. People are
People out
nefarious.
there that have to be like that. There's no need to fake it.
Yeah. Well, no, it's safer to fake it. That's the thing. It's safer and more guaranteed. You don't have to worry about the story you're going to get because you wrote it beforehand and y'all have practiced.
Right.
People who Tom interviewed actually did manage to kick their addictions and claimed that once they got clean, Tom totally lost interest in them and refused to help them further. Whether or not they are telling the truth is hard to determine, as some have been caught out for lying about other things and have been involved in various scandals themselves. It appears that Tom has turned a blind eye to some of these scandals, presumably so he can push a certain narrative and continue interviewing and profiting off them. For example, he continued to interview a woman who emerged had abused her children prior to her becoming homeless and deleted any comments mentioning this on his videos. It's also worth noting that although he asks the interviewees at the start of each video,
which means he's after the sympathy vote, wants her to seem like a victim to the system so that everybody goes, oh, and sends more money. Yeah. You know, because he's clearly giving the money to them, right? Right?
No.
But that would be wrong and immoral.
Right? And we just know he's oozing with morality, right?
Right? Hey, Crazy Hillbilly, welcome in. Good to see you, bud.
And being filmed, and the video being uploaded to YouTube, they are often high at the time, and therefore arguably not able to consent to that. One woman named Chelsea was clearly out of it, and her demeanour changed seconds into the interview as she began muttering and backed off from Tom, but he continued filming her before talking to the man that she was with. Some of these women or their family.
Can someone that's not a creep please help me? And you know what that means, right? You know how many horrendous emails she got on that one. We're not saying any of that on YouTube, but children playing at home, I want you to think about the most horrendous thing your sister or brother ever said to you when you was growing up. And then make it dirty, and you'll get close to the type of things they were asking her. I guarantee you.
Yeah. Families have asked him to delete the videos at a later date, and in most cases, he has refused. Before he started interviewing people,
Hello,
he
Sable.
started out
Welcome in.
posting videos of homeless people filmed from a distance, clearly not gaining their consent until he decided to approach them and ask questions. This all could suggest that he is more bothered about maintaining the facade that earns him a paycheck rather than adhering to ethical standards that he should be considering when working with vulnerable people. Although Tom generally handles the interviews he conducts well, if you watch...
I'm just curious whether or not he's getting a Hummer in the deal. You know, is it a Hummer? Is he getting some of that gold tier cock goblin stuff? Is what I'm asking.
What do
Because
you
I mean,
think?
I don't know. I don't
seriously?
trust this man for nothing. I don't trust that he would. I don't trust that he wouldn't. I don't trust that he would and
Oh, I
tell us he did.
guarantee you he is. I guarantee you he is.
You think he's that much of a slime ball?
Yeah.
You reckon he paid extra?
He didn't pay extra. He is, like I said, they did it for a reason. He is like he's not paid extra. He probably pays them X amount of money to do an interview, or there's probably some kind of grimy way where he's like, look, if you give me this and this and like do a little bit of an interview, then like we'll call it a day. But because there's cut like the couple, Maddie and Jerry, they have his personal phone number and they call him the fuck up. I don't think they just call him up because they want to mow his fucking grass, bro.
We're just getting a little long on the verge.
Enough, you start to notice a few red flags that make me wonder if he sometimes prioritizes the results of the videos, i.e. the profit he generates or his charitable image, over the well-being of the interviewees. For example, in one video, he speaks with and gives donations to a woman named Maddie, who has wounds on her face because she got into...
Unfortunately, this might not be the best eating association here. However, I hope you enjoyed the show. We're debating on whether or not there's a serial killer in operation in the Southeast utilizing this channel as his source for victim. His hunting ground, as it were.
To a fight.
No. You seem to think the creator has something to do with it. I do not think so. I think that's one of his significant contributors. You could probably find his name in the Patreon or something like that, are the ones that are driving. They are driving the type of people that he interviews because they're looking for a certain type. I'll show you what I mean in a little bit. She's going to get specific about a situation. And there is a point where one of these chicks disappears, and then like the fifth one over here disappears, and then the seventh one, and then the eighth one, and ninth one, and 10th one, and then it goes back to spreading back out again. And I think he figured out what homie was actually looking for and nailed it 3 times in a row. But then there's the circumstances under which they disappeared or passed away that are all slightly different, and there's not really anything to tie most of them together except for the fact that they appeared on this channel. I've got a little bit more to throw in that in a little bit, but it won't make sense for another for a minute. Another tidbit of information coming up, and it'll make sense.
Yeah. He tells her to stand in the sun to get the lighting right, and she puts her hand up to her face to shield her eyes from the sun. And he tells her to put her hand down twice, even though it's clear that the sun is hurting her eyes. It seems like the entire purpose of this video was to prove he gives donations to the women after he was accused of keeping some for himself, as he says that now people can see that the women are receiving them, though obviously that doesn't prove that all the donations are going where they're supposed to. Sometimes the interviewees will avoid questions or outright tell Tom that they don't want to answer as it's clearly upsetting them. I've noticed he often goes back to those questions later in the interview. He also often interrupts the interviewees, sometimes when they're telling a personal story, to direct them back to the questions he wants answers to. It's like he has a set checklist of the information he wants to find out, and doesn't mind being rude and insensitive as long as he gets that. Some of his unrelated videos are questionable too, like one where there's a 9-year-old girl eating sweets in the passenger seat of his van. I don't even know who she is, and he
The fact that he owns a van.
tells
He
her
had
to smoke
9-year-old
like a
eating
cigarette.
candy in the van. Eating candy in the van.
Okay, well, I've had a double handful of 9-year-olds eating candy in various vehicles I've had.
Yep,
I have
come off
kids.
at the crate.
Yeah, I
Does
absolutely
he look like
certainly
he's got
do.
kids? He ain't got kids. That
Okay, all right. I'll give you that one.
bro ain't got kids.
I'll
Bro ain't
give you
got
that
kids.
one. All right. Technical issues, part of the show.
And asks when she's going to switch to real cigarettes. It's in his live streams where the mask rarely slips though, and he has been known to get drunk and start angrily ranting about various topics, including being rude and disrespectful about some of the women he's interviewed, degrading them, calling them names, and being generally misogynistic. He has described his idea of a perfect wife who would be submissive and would obey everything he asked her to do. Despite
He sounds good to me. What can I say?
He's so charming. I would love to take him home to mom.
Right? Yeah, she could do his dishes too.
I guarantee you, I would show up at my mom and be like, "You better take that motherfucker on out of here, Emma. I don't like him." My mom's a vibe person, and she would be like, "Nope, go on, get."
My mom would shoot him in the foot.
coming across as relatively unbiased in the interviews, he has spoken discourteously about the lifestyle the women he interviews have, even though he has been accused of using their services, so to speak. In a video uploaded by Kmart Radio, two men discuss some of the allegations against Tom and reference a video uploaded by Catherine313, in which Tom can be heard arranging to meet a woman for their services, in addition to proof that he made advances towards Catherine. I assume the videos uploaded by Catherine have since been deleted as I wasn't able to find them, so I can't confirm the validity of these claims, but Tom has admitted in a video call with others that some of the women have offered their services to him. It might be worth noting that I counted a total of 101 male interviewees, out of whom 9 had been interviewed more than once, and a total of 68 female interviewees, out of whom 26 had been interviewed more than once. So 9% of the men had been re-interviewed and 38% of the women had been re-interviewed, some multiple times. Bear in mind that he has uploaded over 15,000 videos, so I might have missed some. Most of these are in his interview.
15,000 videos.
Oh God, that's just ridiculous amount of videos. God.
Okay. Let's say hypothetically, let's say half of them, half. That's still 7,500 interviews. And let's say 90% of those are with the particular type of individual we're talking about, because they're not all women. Some are couples, some are guys, some are trans, some are, it's all sorts of people, but it's all sorts of people in a very narrow bracket, as it were. The least of us.
And that's what I'm talking about. What Jonica
Use
said.
their list.
I don't like it when people exploit people that are in desperate situations. That's one of those things grinds my gears.
The narrator's killing you. Well, it's hard to find people doing this type of content covering, because what I'm after is in this video, but it's not actually the point of the video. The point of the video is to talk about how much of a shithead this guy is. My interpretation
is awesome. She's awesome.
My interpretation of the information in this video is that there is somebody utilizing this dude's channel as his own personal grab bag of victims.
I could see that.
And I don't I have no illusions that we're going to be solving anything on this freaking live stream tonight. I'm
No.
just saying it's an interesting tidbit of information, and her accent is
That's
slightly
why
grating.
I still keep an eye on it. Still keep an eye on that channel.
This may not be relevant, but considering we know that Tom just drove around Detroit, which is nearly 200 miles away from where he lived, looking for homeless
Thank you, my
people
love.
to interview, it is interesting that he just happens to run into the women
dealer
again much more
girl.
frequently, and could suggest that he actively searches for the women more. He has said to some women he ran into a second time that he's been looking for them for a while. Anyway, Tom said he regretted not knocking out one of the women he interviewed when she questioned his motives, and even said he would choke her for 30 seconds, going into detail about where he would look for cameras, etc. He's made various other threats of violence.
All right. Sometimes we say things for shock value. I was a little drunk one night, and I was introduced to a guy who everyone told me was a bit of a bully. And they're like, Sasquatch, this dude. And I leaned over and whispered in his ear that he looked really sweet, and I appreciate the way he walked. And then just pretended like I hadn't done that for the rest of the night. And several hours later, after he basically ignored me all night when he's like terrorizing everyone else at this place, but he has nothing to say or do with me the whole night. I walk in and catch him with another dude pinned up in the corner, and I whispered in his ear that I like the way you struggle. And he just froze. I said, we need to get together some other time, have us a little session. And wandered back off into the party like nothing had happened. Before he leaves, he walks up to me, and he's done gotten pretty slosh drunk. And he puts his finger in my face, and he goes, I don't know what kind of bullshit you're on about, but I don't go that way. And I was drinking. It was the most ridiculous thing. I was drinking this really fruity mixed drink that somebody had, like, we had one umbrella at this crappy ass party, and we were like passing the fucking umbrella around so different people would look cool. I forgot about that. But anyway, I had the umbrella when he comes up and tells me this. I was sitting there drinking my little fruity drink, and I'm like, it doesn't matter what your opinion is once I remove your arms and legs and staple you to the table with a 4-point harness. All you can do is scream. And he just stopped, looked at the guy next to me and said, I think you're right. He's impossible. And left. He went and got in his car, drove off, and got pulled over and locked up for DUI like 10 minutes later. So there's that.
To different individuals who have spoken out against them. He's made comments about plus-size women, joking, he claims, about assaulting them with a baseball bat, and has even spoken about killing people, which is particularly worrying considering the allegations we'll cover soon. He has made transphobic and racial slurs on a number of occasions, and makes it clear that he is not attracted to black women, as if anyone even asked him. And during one of the rants, he said, why do you think so many successful black men have white wives? I noticed in one interview, he seemed to be pushing the idea that black men commit more sexual assaults on the homeless women than other races. The woman who was being interviewed agreed with him and said that as a result, she refuses to have black clients. I have no idea what it's like out there, but it just seemed a strange point to make on Tom's part, and I can't help but feel that there is an agenda he's trying to push when you look at the other comments he's made about black people. There have been a few times he seemingly didn't realise that his live stream hadn't ended, and he was caught shouting at his dog in a very intimidating manner. There are allegations.
Okay. What kind of dog does he have?
A little bitty, it's like a Shih Tzu type of dog.
Okay.
What's the ones they kind of got longer hair and they got the scrunchy little the smushed up like face? No, I want to say it's Shih Tzu. What kind of dog does Matt have?
Shih Tzu looks
Pekingese.
like he's got
The Pekingese. The Pekingese. The
Pekingese.
Pekingese.
That's a bit different.
I
But
know.
yeah, no,
That's why I had to ask.
those are one of those dogs. You know, if a Chihuahua weighed 45 pounds, he'd take over the world.
Yeah.
Same thing with a Shih Tzu or a Pekingese. If they had the attitude they have at 100 pounds, they'd rule the
Yeah.
universe.
But they're just little bitty. They're so cute. His dog is adorable, but he's a dick bag.
Whole bag of them.
A whole bag.
Accusations
A whole truckload. Whole truckload of them.
Okay.
of him actually harming his dog too, though I wasn't able to find solid evidence of that. He reportedly tried to give his dog away on multiple occasions. He also has a habit of feeding her human food, not even healthy human food, mostly cheeseburgers and hamburgers, which I can't imagine.
Is the dog American? Because if he is, that's just a food group.
Right?
Will be good
The
for
dog's
her.
totally fine.
Many of the most incriminating videos have since been deleted. Some of these that were re-uploaded on other channels remain to this day. However, many were taken down due to copyright claims from him. Tom rigorously moderates the comments on his videos, so the majority that call him out for his behaviour, either the vile comments he's made or the way he treats the women he interviews, are deleted.
Okay, so how much of this type of stuff do you put on his doorstep in the first place? Is it in any way illegal to be a dick? No?
No.
Can you be a
No.
dork?
Yeah.
Can you be an asshole? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the issue they should have is with themselves for having watched this tripe and supported it
Yeah.
through view time. That's their problem.
Yeah.
Support a hater today.
Mhm.
If you hate everything I do and you watch everything I do, you too are a fan, my friend. So
Yeah.
these people seem to be upset that he has found a way to monetize something less than pretty about society. This is not the
Mhm.
beautiful part of society. We're not talking about the Hollywood elite over here. We're talking about people who got run out of Skid Row on a rail because they weren't good enough. I mean, we're talking the true fringes of society here, the people that society has completely failed. And he goes searching for these people to interview them. I think
Mhm.
there's something off base there on the surface.
Yeah. The reason why I say that is because just from my personal opinion and my own perspective, I don't think he struggled with anything more than at the very most maybe alcohol addiction. He's never actually had to sober up from it, so he's never went through what a lot of those people have went through or what like I've been through. So he doesn't understand why it's so infuriating that you're exploiting these people when they're in the situation they're in. That's what I got a problem with. I don't give a fuck that he's a dickhead because I'm a dickhead sometimes. I don't care. It's what you're
Um,
doing to these people
my
while they're
concern,
in that state.
my concern has to do less with the interviewing and less with the monetization of it and more with whether or not he intimates what's up, flow state, whether or not he implies that he's going to give the donated money to these people. Is that a part of the video? Is that part of his platform? Is that how he feeds it? Or is it a situation where these videos are just available on his platform and there's no further information about it? Because that would be a bit different. If you're trying to make money off of these people and you're trying to artificially inflate your gains by saying, okay, well, if you give me $10, I'll give them $5 or whatever, and you're upfront
Oh
about
yeah,
that,
no, he
I don't
doesn't
have
ever
a
really
problem
say
with
that.
that either, right?
Yeah,
As long as you're
but
upfront
he
about it,
doesn't
as
say
long
that.
as it's not fraud, it's not nefarious, it's not illegal, I'm not sure where I can start complaining about. Is it bad? Yes. Is it immoral? Yes. Should he do it? No. Is it illegal? I don't think so.
Mm-mm. I don't think it
So
is.
that's not what we're looking at here. What I'm looking at here are the individuals that he chose to do these things on. They're in difficult situations
Right.
in every case.
Deleted imminently. Tom has apparently been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which has led to a few hospitalizations. That's not a condemnation of his behaviour, but it is a possible explanation for his unpredictable and sometimes aggressive nature. I think we've covered enough to suggest that Tom's Good Samaritan act is likely nothing but that, an act. But here's where things get really concerning. I'd like to state once again that the theories and allegations I'm about to cover are not facts. It's all speculation.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am not an investigator. I have no formal training at all. All I am is some random autistic dude who noticed a trend on the internet and went, well, I find that weird. She did not bring this to me saying, hey, I think there's a serial killer inactive over here and he's doing this. No, she said, I think this dude knows a serial killer or something. And I was like, really? What makes you say that? Well, check this out. And then check that out. And after looking at it, I went, wait a second. No, there's a serial killer donating that man.
I was like, there's definitely something going on.
I feel like
Yeah.
there's a unwritten plan to his travels.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that. Go and look at the videos.
Yeah.
They're not uploaded in chronological order. They're uploaded in order. Some are edited.
There's a pattern.
There are weird loops where one gets filmed and another one gets released and another one gets released. And then that one that was filmed a week ago gets released as if it was right there in line with the rest, but it's not. This gives the impression that he's in Jacksonville when he's actually in Athens.
Right. So that you can't actually track him in real time.
Among other things. I mean, no, like no, that's what I'm saying is I noticed that it was the fact that he was doing that tipped me off to the fact that he would be easier to track because of it. You just got to figure out his little system, predict ahead where it would be, go into that general vicinity, and when he releases the next current video, go there. Because he's 2 or 3 days in each little anyway, there's a whole system at work here. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure why. I don't know what the purpose is. I feel like it's what she said to keep people from being able to track him. But if that's the case, why have it so predictable that a random autist that wasn't even looking for that information noticed it just in passing, was like, well, that's weird. Look at those upload dates. They don't match the fucking that's not right. I didn't look. It wasn't like I was just like, well, why would you do that? I know of one reason to do that.
That's the thing. It is trendy. You know why it's trendy? Because like there's things that are constantly happening where there's like that one little thing that everybody's kind of like, you know, I almost got it, but there's like this one. And if it weren't for autistic people, you'd probably never figure out that one little thing. But it's because of people like him and me that happens. Like there's something else I noticed in the stream with Flo the other day that like I clipped it, I've sat on it for days, I pondered on it, I played it back to a friend. I was like, and I saw her face. I was like, see, I know it's not just me. That's why I'm talking about this. Moving right along.
Did you know that when you do your remixes, you can drag the screen back and forth and change who's in frame?
Yeah,
you don't have to
yeah.
do the weird
Sometimes I fuck that up.
Dude, I nailed 2 of them perfect the other day. I almost got the entire panel laid out on my shorts feed by doing it in the right order, right side, left, middle, left side, and uploading the right side first, middle, and then the left side. And I got 2 of them right, and the other one, I don't know what happened. Be honest with you. And I was like, well, damn, that wasn't as cool as I thought it'd be. And all of those got a total of like 96 views. All 14 of them.
So I've been doing like this little thing where I do like roughly like 3 shorts a day, and at least one of those 3 always breaks 1,000 views, if not more. That's the way it's been doing. It's actually helped my analytics like a bunch.
Okay, but from my
I
perspective,
listen.
I'm funny. I have this funny come out of me. I don't get no control over that stuff. It just kind of come out of me when the funny happened. And so I'll be looking through and see the funny happen. And I'll be like, oh, the funny just happened. And I do the funny. And then I put it on the YouTubes and they get between 2,000 and 7,000 views. If Flow State's in that bitch, it gets 9.
How about no?
How about no?
No.
I'm like, dude, you're so goddamn shadow banned. You're shadow banned on my channel, and I didn't do it. How's that possible? How is it that the bit of his live stream that I played on my channel performed exactly on par with the rest of my content as if no change had taken place, and yet all of everything derived from that specific piece of content has utterly died everywhere on earth? Like, I'm telling you, dude, you need to get facial reconstruction. We need to get you a filter and a voice thing. Flow State, dude.
There's nothing wrong with his face.
It's his. That's the problem.
No. How about no? Why? No. Don't do that.
Because I guarantee you, YouTube's using some facial recognition software on his ass. We got to get him some like googly eyes and a droopy chin. We can go with like the total Chad rebuild.
Okay, no, just get one of those, those masks that have the brown nose, whatever, so you look like Humpty Dumpty. I'm sure it'll be fine if you just do that. Just throw a bag over it, but don't. I think that's what's being me.
The ones of you on M's channel.
I don't think you are. See, I'm smart.
They're the ones performing for her. The ones of you on my channel, I think you and me are the only people checking on them. I think that's why they got the 96 views they have, is because we keep looking.
No, I have one that he's in the thumbnail, and it doesn't have very many views. I'm double checking just to be sure. As a matter of fact, it looks like if I even mention him at all in the title, like, doesn't do that great. I think that's what I'm talking about.
We just had that conversation, actually.
I'm talking about, like, just saying, like,
I'm simply sharing information that I found online.
Serial killer.
Anyway, the Chosen One channel had mostly flown under the radar for many years until around 2019, when critics of the channel became more vocal after realizing that a number of women who Tom has interviewed had died shortly after the videos were uploaded. A petition was started to get the channel taken down, and it listed 7 different women, all of whom had died within a year of their interviews with Tom, some within a much shorter period of time. Most of them had been murdered. Since then, I found that
7 unsolved homicides. Conservatively speaking, we're talking 3,000 maybe videos of women in this general statistical bailiwick. These disenfranchised fringe of society dwellers. Call it 1,500 videos of women of a certain type. 7 have been found murdered.
Yeah. But
okay, this isn't a huge percentage, but wait, there's more.
6 more women have also died, and as far as I'm aware, no one has been prosecuted in relation to any of these deaths. Here are the deaths listed in the petition. Nicole, who had worked the streets since around 1999, was interviewed in November 2016, and her body was found on the train tracks the following month. Penny, who had worked the streets since around 1996, was interviewed in August 2016 and was pronounced dead in April the next year after being beaten in the head and becoming comatose. Angel had worked the streets since around 2002, was interviewed in July 2017, and was found dead with a needle in her arm that same month, despite being clean from heroin for a period of time after her second interview with Tom. Kelly had worked the streets since around 1998 and was interviewed in August 2018. She died the following month. Her cause of death is unknown. Monica had worked the streets since around 2012, was interviewed by Tom in May 2019, and was killed by being run over multiple times just 24 days later. Wendy was interviewed in April 2015, and a body was found in a ditch the following month. Her cause of death is unknown. Tiffany was interviewed in August 2019 and was killed by stabbing the following month. It's worth noting that
You see how this is going, right? Are we looking merely at coincidence? Is this just he's interviewed so many people in such a nefarious circumstance that it's inevitable that some of them would have been?
No, because if I was gonna target people in that area or that world, that would be for a reason, and it is because it's gonna be a lot. For one, we all know how the cops treat people like that. They don't want to investigate them when they go missing. They don't want to investigate their deaths, and if they're the murder. And all someone has to say is it's an overdose. It's an accidental overdose, and that's it. And because they live like that, the cops
Okay.
just go, "Yep, that's what it is." They don't
No,
even
no,
think about it.
Tiffany,
sorry. No. These specifically, these 8 or 9, 7 or 8, however many it is, are specifically homicides. They're not overdoses and anything else. These are specifically homicides. She was found overdosed in the bed, and it was judged to be a homicide, or it would not be on this list. There are others that are going to be brought up in a minute that just either died of overdose or found on the side of the road, misadventure, or unfortunate circumstances, no specific cause of death type stuff. That's curious as well. But the ones that bother me are the ones labeled homicide and the ones that are just missing. And I hope I'll be able to show why here in a little bit, hopefully.
is one of, if not the only interview that has been removed at the request of the family because they apparently sued him. He's refused to delete any of the other videos featuring women who have died, often claiming that's not what they would have wanted, when in actuality, most of them probably only agreed to the interviews in the first place because they were getting paid for it. Since then, the deaths that I found were Ali, who died of kidney failure, Brittany, who OD'd, then went into a coma before her death, and Sweet Pea, Sarah, Raven, and Stephanie, whose causes of death I'm not sure of.
Those were the ones who merely died under circumstances that were not either completely clear or, you see what I'm saying? Not a homicide on the surface, at least, right?
Well,
Kidney
a hit and
failure.
run, though.
Well,
A hit and run is a homicide, whether it was an intentional homicide or not. That's a homicide. You didn't go back. You killed him. That's murder.
I guess you got a point there. Wait, no, that's just Raven and Stephanie were killed by hit and run. And they were on the.
And then one that was found on the
Wait,
track. That's kind of
this is an edit. This is an edit into the video that she did because by the time it went to production, she had information on these two. They weren't unknown deaths. They were hit and runs, which homicide, like you said, that's 7, 8, 9. That's why I don't know how many to say, is because there are others that get added to the homicide slot later. And I think it comes to a total of like 33 women missing, 17 under at least questionable circumstances, and 12 or 11 under homicidal circumstances, hit and run, suspect drug addiction related type stuff. Like it's wild. If it's a serial killer, this individual is operating on the premise that he is a natural force of nature. He he doesn't come in and do anything sexual or anything nefarious like that. He probably pays his way in as a John, shows up like a perfectly normal person, performs whatever performative act that it is that he pays for them to do, and then mows them the fuck
Maybe
down, runs
that.
them over. Maybe none of that shit never happens. Maybe he just spots them on the road and runs them over. You know, the point is there doesn't seem to be a specific MO, and that's what breaks the serial killer mold. That's the problem here.
I watched a video the other day, and he could potentially be lining this up because the actual act of the actual event of the death itself is what gets him off. So that's why he does it. So that may be why there may not even be sometimes evidence of sex occurring because of that. Because he may
I'm
be
not
finished
talking about
before it even
sex.
happens.
I don't think he pays for
That's what I'm
sex.
saying.
I think he goes in with a totally different MO. He would go in saying, "Hey, I'll give you $20, $40 to clean my car. And you can keep any
Yeah.
change you find there too." Right.
Yeah.
And they go to some location, clean the car. Soon as it gets done, drives off. She has to walk back to where she's going. He knows where she's going. He rides around the block a couple of times, comes back through, runs her down.
Circle back and runs over. And then by
He could
not having a consistent pattern of the deaths would also make it easier
he
or harder
wouldn't
for them
be
to find you, but easier for you to get away.
but he wouldn't be able to have a consistent MO for that. The only part that he would be able to control would be how he goes about interacting with these people on the first place.
Right.
He is hunting them hypothetically. All of this is alleged, and there is no actual suspect I have in mind. This is a hypothetical unsub who would be operating in this manner, right?
Right.
Would need to either have early access to the videos, so he's a Patreon, something along those lines, so that he can get access to the individuals before they go public.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You're talking a donator here, hypothetically. Okay. And this is because on the back door of all of that, on the back end of all that, there's more information and more video that's not uploaded to YouTube that is kept for the Patreon subscribers. And that information might be critical to knowing whether or not this is somebody operating or possibly could be a family. Maybe it's a family affair, a whole family of serial killers. I don't know. It would explain the wide range of how people are killed. It would sort of explain.
Yeah, the different method. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like why they're
Well, if you're intentionally doing it to not get caught, then you would vary your method. On the flip side, these individuals don't do this because, you know, the sun came up this morning. They typically, in almost every case, have an agenda in their mind that they wish to show someone who, if this is a active serial killer, I don't see an agenda of any type except for an easy access to a body count that will never be counted. It wouldn't surprise me if this individual wasn't shopping 3 or 4 different channels.
Yeah.
If you could find the other victims and like all of the hit and runs, maybe from the general areas where those took place, look for similarities. I don't know. I just don't have access to any of that information. My autism's itching for it, but I don't have it. This is the best I got.
Yeah.
And I see it here.
I think that's another one. I think I'll be able to do more on that. I got her subreddit too, and her subreddit follows Reddits about him subreddits.
Appreciate you coming by.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's that's the whole thing is like there's a void of information here that seems to be filled by an individual doing some seriously nefarious stuff. I mean, does dude have a brother? Because if I was profiling this cat, I would go look at his immediate family, his brother, his uncles, his first cousins, stuff like that, just to see, hey, are you following homie around? Do you help him in any of this filming? Do you ever go back to the places where you know, that kind of stuff, just basic bread and butter questions. It does seem
Yeah.
suspicious, Nikhil. Welcome back, bud. Good to see you.
Yeah, that's what yeah.
Total number of deaths 14 at this point.
As a side note, it's likely that a woman who called herself Carrie in her interview because she couldn't remember her name has since sadly passed away too because she was terminally ill due to a brain tumour that
15.
affected her memory and didn't have long left by the sound of it. But of course I won't be grouping this potential death with the others going forward. There have also been a few interviewees who chose not to reveal their names, so their current status is unknown. Hopefully they're still alive and in a better situation now. Anyway.
Later, or maybe earlier, she referred to it as a half dozen channels who refused to reveal their name or anything about themselves. And so there's no follow-up investigation on them. They're not on this list, but they could be missing as well. Hell, they might have been murdered. We have no idea. We don't have their name. We know nothing about them. So that is another point. There is another block of information here that just doesn't exist because all we know is it was a single white female in Philadelphia in 2021. That's all we know about. Who called herself, the mermaid or whatever, Monica or Tiffany or Barbara or whatever she called herself. We have no information on these people except for what they gave in that given interview. And after that, they disappeared.
And
we know
they
nothing about
disappeared and we don't know anything else.
We don't know that they're not existent. We don't know that they are. We know nothing. So that's kind of something you have to take out of the block of information that we've gotten so far, is that there's a certain fudge factor here of just missing data.
That's a total of 13 women who have died in a relatively short space of time after being interviewed by Tom, and this has led some to wonder if he is actually murdering them. I'm going to say now that there isn't a whole lot of evidence to back this theory up. It's all speculative, and as a result, while anything is possible, I don't actively believe that Tom is a murderer.
I would go as far as saying that he would deny it if it was suggested. He would refute it if you put evidence of it in front of him. However, if you showed him the list of victims next to how they were killed, he might be able to tell you who the hell it was. But not because he knows anything about it, but because in his brain, who donated, who made the blocked comments, right?
Yeah.
He's the only person on earth who saw those blocked comments. And I believe if you were to uncover those comments, you might find out who's behind some of these disappearances and murders. Because it wouldn't necessarily have to be only one.
Right.
There might be a couple of folks running around doing this type of stuff, which would further muddy the waters. I mean, after all, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, there was no such thing as an online population of victims, of helpless victims. You know exactly where they're at and when they'll be there and what they're willing to do for stuff. Didn't exist. Wasn't a thing. Those people existed, but the fact that you could just scroll through like a French king, that's, I don't know.
Murderer. But let's take a look at what has led some critics to suggest this. The high number of women who have died, some under mysterious circumstances, is somewhat alarming. While there is a point to be made that these women have relatively dangerous lifestyles that put them more at risk, it's interesting that they died so soon after meeting Tom. Most of them had been on the streets for many years, up to 20 years in fact, and had survived. Yet some, like Kelly.
I don't think that's Cat. I think I accidentally blocked Cat and let the troll run free. One got blocked and one got timed out, and none of them came back. So I think I got the wrong one, because if Cat had been timed out, she would have showed up and commented. But if she had been permanently blocked, then she wouldn't have. And as I understand it, that's not the first time that particular type of exchange has taken place in a chat. I haven't seen it till now, but don't know.
Died within a month of being interviewed. We know that Tom has a temper, he can be unpredictable, and there are various clips of him snapping, sometimes over small triggers. He has threatened violence against the women he has interviewed, and outside of the interviews speaks of them in a derogatory manner. I watched all the interviews with the women who have died and noticed that while the types of questions he asks could be out of general interest and are probably to gain information his viewers might be curious to know, he also provides useful information for if Tom or anyone watching his videos wanted to harm the women. He usually states the exact location of where he finds them and asks where they sleep, which regardless of whether he...
And right there is reason enough to suspect that even if this guy, let's hypothetically in Minecraft, if someone were utilizing this type of channel as a hunting ground, there's all the information you need to find these people in short order.
He is in any way involved in their deaths is extremely irresponsible when the videos are publicly available for anyone to watch. He often asks if they have any friends or family, perhaps making it clear whether or not anyone would realise if they went missing, asks what times they work on the streets, asks for the addresses of those who have somewhere to stay, asks if they see much of the police. When speaking to Angel, he said, "Any problems since I last saw you? No weirdos or axe murderers?" After learning of deaths, he often asks others for more information. For example, Angel mentioned that her friend Monica was murdered, and he asked if the police caught whoever did it. He also asked what the...
ATL say swipe right.
I've never done online dating.
Circumstances surrounding Penny's death were, and again asked if the killer was caught. In this interview, Angel said that she was leaving the area to go to Alabama soon, so that perhaps would have been the best time to harm her, and of course she was killed before she made it there. In an interview with two women just a few weeks after Tiffany was murdered, Tom claimed that he never ran into her, despite the fact that he had interviewed her less than a month prior to...
Dun, dun, dun.
Now,
This one fact. That one fact is the reason why I say that he may not be consciously or even aware that this is happening, but that he knows something hinky's going on, because when a question comes up about one of those, he claims no knowledge. But he's done so many interviews, you might forgive him for forgetting one.
Yeah.
Or two.
That's the reason I don't go to the local bar. Why would I do that? I don't date.
That's ATL. Hey, look, it's kind of late for him. He's already took his nighttime meds, and he's going to be his cheese is going to be slowly sliding off his cracker until he passes out. Love you, bud. Eat some crackers. For serious.
To her death. This is one of a few lies he has told regarding the women who have been murdered. He certainly comes across a bit shady as a result. If Tom was responsible or somehow involved in any of these deaths, you might think it would be a bit stupid of him to put himself in the firing line by publicly linking himself to these women, but he wouldn't be the first person to hide in plain sight, and it could actually form part of his alibi. If any evidence was found linking him to the victims, he could potentially explain that away because he has a reason to be in contact with them. I have heard rumours that police have been keeping an eye on him as a result of these allegations, but it's all just hearsay. They have been in contact over other matters. Tom himself has spoken about this on live streams, but I haven't seen any credible information.
I'm going to give you the link, but you got to get some crackers to sit down and eat for my talk out. I just want you to crunch into the freaking camera just as hard and heavy as you can while we do it.
To suggest they've launched an investigation into him over the deaths, or that they consider him a suspect. It's important to remember that not all of the women were murdered. Some of the causes of death haven't been publicly announced, so could have been accidental or due to natural causes. And Ali at least died of.
All right, hold on the crunching for at least like 3 minutes, and then we'll do the play out. And I'll give you the full screen. You can crunch on it as hard as you want and just as loud as you will.
I was already crunching when you were saying I should get some crunching material.
You're a good man. Look at this man. He don't go nowhere without a big old slab of something to munch on. He chewing it down. Look at him.
Swiss cheese.
Yeah, absolutely. How much of this have you been paying attention to?
A little bit.
All right. Well, there's about, let's see, 2 minutes left. There's a minute and a half left. We've got 3 minutes left in the show. Let's try to pull it off.
Kidney failure, which could have been due to illness or drug abuse. Regarding the fatal hit and run of Tiffany, a CCTV image has been released showing a person of interest who may have been involved, and this does not appear to be Tom. The vehicle suspected to have hit her also does not match the van that Tom is known to drive. There doesn't appear to be a consistent modus operandi between the murders too, which could suggest different murderers, unless it was a serial killer who switched up the methods to throw police off the scent. As I said before, while I am somewhat suspicious of Tom, I don't think there's enough evidence to accuse him of murder, and I don't necessarily think it would be fair to blame him for any of the deaths. But I think the way he has handled the interviews is in some ways reckless, and there is a chance that details in his videos could have made it easier for someone to harm these women. It's certainly possible that one or more of Tom's subscribers are responsible for the murders and track down the victims using the specific locations he gave in the videos, knowing they were easy targets because most of them were out on the streets alone at night and weren't in contact with any friends or family that would be keeping an eye on them. Alternatively, perhaps other homeless people in the area heard about the large sums of money some of these women were receiving, and that motivated them to want to harm them. Of course, it's absolutely possible that the murders had nothing to do with Tom at all, or his videos.
Okay, all right. So I think that covers enough of the ground and details to be able to give you enough information to decide. Chat. Is there a serial killer using this guy's videos as his personal hunting ground?
What other connection is there?
There, as far as I can tell, the only connection between the individual victims, 3 were run down by cars, 2 were stabbed randomly in the night. Several of them were overdosed, but with a homicide ruling, not a misadventure ruling. So there was somebody present during the overdose that may have been responsible.
What year?
From 2018 through 2022. And there's a handful that are just
that opens up something else. That's all. Because you could have one guy luring these people out, and then you got some other guy completely unrelated.
See, that's the theory that they were proposing. But my theory is he has a Patreon, and this individual operates on his channel and several other channels and hunts across the Southeast, North Florida, Eastern Georgia, South Carolina. Maybe further. I don't know.
You got someone with a drone in his neighborhood.
Well, no, that's just it. He doesn't do a neighborhood. He travels all over the Southeast over here. He's been running around over here for a few years now.
Apple tagged his car.
I mean, he uploads exactly where he finds these people himself, the channel on
back and forth.
it's all over the place over here.
It's been all over the place from Detroit to Georgia and back and forth.
Currently, he's tooling around the Southeast, which is part of the reason why.
Crawfordsville, Georgia.
which is why I brought it up today, that if this is taking place, then there would be an interview taking place here in the next couple of weeks on his channel. That interviewee, if they fit a specific criteria, might match the profile for one of these hits. A predictive reasoning.
Does
like,
M match the profile?
The profile seems to be destitute, waifishly thin women that are on the verge of overdose in almost every case, but they don't mostly.
So this guy would be interviewing someone like M.
Oh, you're mean.
Weight, man. I'm not skinny anymore.
Hey, dude, I need you to do something. You got some chips?
Yeah.
Hurry.
Crunch out for me. Bro, I swear I had a good old crunchy exhaust exit plan, but my exit strategy has run afoul of planning. I've had a whole month of Mondays. It's been great. Youngin, I can't. You over there making me read lips. You ready? You good?
You
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.